I've got 3 paleo and AIP friendly meals for you, all of which can be made in under 30 minutes. I know that eating a healing diet like paleo or AIP can be very time consuming, so that's why I want to present to you a couple of meals, full meals, that can be used on any weeknight or any time when you don't have a lot of time. So let's get to it. The first meal we'll make is turkey burgers with apple relish and sweet potato wedges. If you want to take a screenshot or take a photo of the ingredients, you can do so now, or you can download the PDF with all 3 recipes and instructions at the link below. First, we'll start with the sweet potato wedges. You're going to preheat an oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit and line a baking sheet with parchment paper. And then you'll peel the potatoes, then cut into thirds lengthwise, and then cut each piece into 3 more pieces. Place the potatoes on the baking sheet and then drizzle with 1 tablespoon of the oil and a ½ teaspoon of sea salt. Toss to coat. You'll bake this for 20 minutes or until tender. While the sweet potatoes are cooking, you'll start the turkey burgers. Mix the turkey, onion powder, dried sage, parsley, and a ½ teaspoon of sea salt together in a large bowl. Divide the mixture into 8 equal portions and then shape it into patties. Then heat a large skillet over medium-high heat. Add about a tablespoon of cooking oil to the skillet. And then add a ½ cup of tapioca powder or arrowroot or coconut flour to a shallow dish, and then place each patty into the tapioca powder to coat. Shake off any excess and then add the patty to the skillet. You'll most likely have to do this in several batches, depending on the size of your pan. Cook for 5 minutes aside or until the turkey is no longer pink in the middle. An instant read thermometer should read about 165 degrees Fahrenheit. While those are cooking, you'll make the apple relish. You'll core and roughly chop the apple, no need to peel it. Place it in a food processor with the juice and the zest of an orange. The raisins, honey, and a ¼ teaspoon of sea salt. Pulse about 10 times or until the ingredients are roughly the same size. If you don't have a food processor, you can finely dice the apples with a knife and mix all of the rest of the ingredients. And to serve, place a large handful of arugula or other leafy green on each plate. You can add several sweet potato wedges to the side, then add a patty and top it with a large dollop of the relish. The second meal is some tasty pork chops with cabbage, onions, apples, and mashed cauliflower. Again, screenshot or take a photo of this page, or you can download the PDF with all 3 recipes and instructions at the link below. First, prepare the cauliflower. Set a large pot of water over high heat to boil. Roughly chop the cauliflower into pieces. And then once the water boils, place the cauliflower into the pot and set a timer for 20 minutes. As you can see here, I'm using a mixture of frozen and fresh cauliflower because the recipe calls for 5 cups and I only had 4, so I was supplementing with the frozen. While the cauliflower is cooking, we'll prepare the pork chops. Heat 2 tablespoons of the cooking oil in a large frying pan. Season the pork chops well with salt, and then add to the pan and cook for 4 to 5 minutes aside, until an instant read thermometer reads 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Meanwhile, thinly slice the apples. Again, no need to peel. Slice the onion, and core and shred the cabbage. When the pork is done, remove it from the pan and place it on a plate covered with another plate or aluminum foil to rest. Add the remaining 2 tablespoons of cooking oil to the pan, then add the onions and cook for about 5 minutes or until translucent. Add the cabbage to the pan and let cook it for a minute just to kind of cook down so it's not so bulky. Then add the apples, honey, cinnamon, nutmeg or mace, and half teaspoon of sea salt. Stir and then cook, stirring frequently until the cabbage is wilted and cooked through, which is about 3 minutes. When the cauliflower is done, drain the cauliflower and place in a large bowl or blender. Add a large pinch of sea salt and then blend with a hand immersion blender, potato masher, blender, or even a food processor. Slice the pork chops into thin strips, and then serve the meal by putting a large scoop of mashed cauliflower on the bottom of the plate, and then adding some cabbage mixture on top, followed by a sliced pork chop. Now the last meal we'll prepare is the sweet and sour broccoli ham. This is a great meal to serve to anyone as the flavors are pleasing to most palates, and you can make a paleo or AIP friendly base for yourself and give your family white rice or regular pasta, making it much easier to prepare than cooking 2 separate meals. And here are the ingredients for this. Again, you can download the PDF with all 3 meals at the link below. And then you'll need your choice of a base. Some ideas are some AIP pasta. I personally love Jovial Foods cassava flour pasta. You could use cauliflower rice, roasted spaghetti squash, or sweet potato noodles. In this video, we'll be using cauliflower rice that I bought pre-riced at the store in the produce section. And I'll also be making Jovial Foods cassava flour pasta, which is paleo and AIP friendly. So first you'll prepare the base or the bases you're going to use. For the cauliflower rice, since it's already been riced, I'll hold off on this until later because I don't need to cook it right now. But for the pasta, I'll put a pot of water on to boil, and then I'll cook the pasta according to the package directions. And while the base or bases cook, you'll prepare the broccoli ham. Heat a large skillet over medium heat. Add the oil and melt if necessary. Add the broccoli and cook, stirring occasionally for about 3 minutes. And then you'll add pineapple chunks, ham chunks, green onions, and continue to cook, stirring occasionally for 5 more minutes. And then in a small bowl, you'll stir together the pineapple juice, apple cider vinegar, sugar, and arrowroot powder. You'll add this to the skillet and simmer, stirring frequently until heated through and the sauce is thickened, about 2 to 3 minutes. And because I bought that pre-riced cauliflower, I cook that while the sauce is simmering. I simply put a pan over medium heat, added a tablespoon of avocado oil, and then put the cauliflower into the pan with a pinch of sea salt. I let it sit for a minute, then stirred and continued to cook it for an additional 2 to 3 minutes, stirring occasionally. And then finally, serve the broccoli ham mixture over the base or the bases you cooked. And here's a tip if you're watching your carbs but still want some pasta, do a mixture of the cauliflower rice and a little bit of the pasta. Best of both worlds. And that's it. I hope you enjoy these meals as much as we do. And yes, I am wearing a different outfit because I actually do make these for our dinners. I don't just make them and waste them. If you want to grab the recipes for this, I'll put the link below. You'll be able to get the PDF with all 3 meals, plus access to my Paleo and AIP freebie library with all sorts of resources. I'll see you next time.